Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're going to be speaking about exactly what's going on with Twitter and their currently censorship. As we can all know, that Twitter has it's not really been too grateful onto people with without leaking information. So, or not really leaking information, but censoring people. And it seems like they're going to be back at it again. Looks like a bit more deadly this time, and they're actively out saying it this time as well. So now the Democrats, the aka communists, are not holding back any punches, are being quite open about it, and I have a few things to discuss with them. Alright, it says, Twitter activates steps to protect midterms, fight misleading narratives. Twitter announced on Thursday that it would implement several measures to protect safe conversation in the run-up to the midterm elections, saying users deserve to trust the election conversations and content they can encounter on the social media platform. In an announcement titled Our Approach to the 22 U.S. Midterms, the company explained that it aims to enable a healthy civic conversation on Twitter while ensuring people have the context they need to make informed decisions. So, I'm going to point this out here, that there are people that I do know that have, quite honestly, are the blame for this. Anybody that voted for Biden, which I know a family member that has voted for Biden, are the reasons why we're in this situation to begin with. Now, I'm not saying that when they vote for Biden that Twitter would have actually not done this, but I do know there would be more issues, there would be less problems here because, well, we wouldn't be in such a terrible position. I want people to all know, if you voted for Biden, you're exactly the reason why the U.S. is the way it is, the reason why there's so much crackdown onto people and to Trump-alites and political figures, and to why we're in this stage at all. Because when you voted for this man in, now we have high inflation, we have more IRS gonna make us pay more money out of our pockets, they're gonna make us more audits, more people are gonna get arrested for things probably they haven't done thanks to the IRS, and all this other great stuff. So, that being said, this is all your guys' fault. Because you guys worked off of emotion. Since when does emotion ever solve anything? I am so sick and tired of people working off of emotion, and this is just not how we solve issues. Again, people that work off emotion are the reason why we fall in the downfall of this country. Now, or any country for the matter, or for any situation. We understand that things may seem harsh or seem brutal at first, and it kind of can be because that's just how reality is. But for protect the group of the greater people, you cannot work off of it. This is incredibly important. You see everything that the Democrats do, regardless whether they're good or not good, is that the fact that they're all working off an emotional stance. And we have a lot of emotional men here that are quite honestly sickening, and they need to grow up and stop being these fucking feminists, these fucking, I would say, feminized people. Now, or not feminized people, but feminine people. Now, I'm not saying women being emotional is a huge problem, but I do understand that emotion causes rifts and causes issues in actual decision making. Because when you get emotional, you make things off of an emotional basis off of that rather than fact. When you go off of, if you keep on avoiding fact and go off of an emotion, the emotion decision is usually not the best one. So, am I saying that we cannot be emotional or have some type of sympathy for people for some of the things they go through? No. But what I am saying is we have to look at a bigger picture and avoid a potential emotion here. Because when we do this, it's a huge problem. I know this is kind of thing reiterated, but I really want to nail on the head here that we need to stop doing this type of stuff. The reason why these people are in is because of emotion and emotion alone. I understand that Trump did and say a lot of stupid things. I'm not denying that. He said a lot of stupid things. His policies were good, his attitude was not. But I want people in for the policies that they make. I want people in for the decisions and ideas that they have that will help better the country and better the American people. And when you go off an emotion or go off of things that the media has told you or your actual news outlets that tell you, you are a sheep. You have no actual decision making of your own, and you cannot decide things for your own because you need people to tell you what you can or cannot say. And that is the problem with these people. Make your own mind up. Stop listening to falsified lies. It is absolute stupidity to do that. But anyways, let's finish with this actual article here. In an announcement titled "Our Approach to the 22 U.S. Midterms," the company explained that it aims to enable healthy civic conversation on Twitter while ensuring people have the context they need to make informed decisions. The company is activating enforcement of a civic integrity policy specifically designed to combat harmful, misleading information. Twitter will be rolling out various measures, including blocking certain accounts for sharing links or content it deems false. People on Twitter will see a prompt prior to liking or sharing labeled tweets, and in cases where this is potential for harm associated with the false or misleading claim, the tweet may not be liked or shared to prevent the spread of the misleading information, Twitter claimed. The site is also bringing back pre-bunks. The purpose of pre-bunks is to get ahead of misleading narratives on Twitter and proactively address topics that may be the subject of misinformation. Over coming months, Twitter will place prompts directly on people's timelines in the U.S. and search when people type these terms, phrases, or hashtags. We all know that the Republicans, conservatives, etc., anybody that is slightly on the right will be the ones silenced and shadow banned, while others will not be, which will be people on the left. We all know their BS that is happening. Likewise, the social media company will be educating users on how to identify fake news. Keep an eye on Twitter safety for media literacy tips and suggestions, like how to spot misinformation, which were developed in partnership with educational experts. Yeah, those educational experts are also people that are communists, just like you guys are, along with the Democratic Party, which are also communists. I'm going with the Democrats all right now, because that's what they're acting like. I don't really like the Rhino Republicans either. I despise them as much as anybody else, and we need to rat them out as soon as possible. And any other Republican that makes very stupid decisions or very stupid statements like what Ted Cruz did about Brittany Griner and saying she has been unjustly jailed. Which I have news for you, Ted Cruz. No, she hasn't. Stop pandering. Otherwise, I'm going to start thinking that you might be working with the left as well. So you're on my very questionable list, Ted Cruz. So if you really want to talk to me, go ahead. jmreports0@gmail.com. Send an email if you ever see this video at all, and I'll greatly talk to you about my displacement and my distrust in what you're actually talking about. Because, really, I don't really have time for your BS. The head of the Twitter site integrity team told the Federal Election Commission, FCC, that the company censored the story because U.S. intelligence officials shared rumors it contained potentially hacked information, despite no evidence emerging that the information in the New York Post reporting came from a hack. Then Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, the Senate Judiciary Committee, during last year, that the company made a mistake by censoring the story. We recognize it as a mistake that we made both in terms of the intention of the policy and also the enforcement of the action of not allowing people to share it publicly or privately, Dorsey said. We made a quick interpretation using no other evidence that the materials in the article were obtained through hacking, and according to our policy, we blocked them from being spread. For its part, Twitter pledged in its latest announcement to share real-time information about its approach as election day nears. Yeah, well, we all know we have to trust you on how much shadow banning is going to happen. This is why we're going to be on Truth Social, Gab, and anything else, because Twitter, we all know, is a pile of horseshit. And it is going to remain a pile of horseshit until Elon Musk gets on his ass and actually starts buying fucking Twitter. I understand that he had an unreasonable deal and whatnot, but at this point, you need to protect the American people, and the American people need to be protected 100%. Truthfully, if this is your 200 IQ plan to expose Twitter and everything they've done in court, then good. But otherwise, you need to hurry up, because this is becoming a huge problem on the detriment of the American people, and it needs to happen now. And things need to fix up before we get this shit organized. Now, we have obviously here where we have Twitter going out and said ahead of the U.S. midterms, we're sharing steps for potential election conversations, blah, 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 blah. We all heard this already, so I'm not going to pop this up because we all kind of already know this is happening. However, they're getting ratioed. See this here? This is being ratioed. This is the actual Twitter safety right here, where they are also getting ratioed to all hell. I think the American people are waking up, and I don't think they're going to be getting away with this for very much longer. People are seeing what the government did to Trump, and they're kind of scared about it. And I don't think things are going to be going too well for them in the long run, especially the Democrats. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.